Hey guys, welcome back. Episode number 8. We're going to continue on our mobility theme at the moment, and we are also going to continue in the lower leg. On the last episode we talked about mobilizing the calf and the soleus under the calf, two very important muscles which can become very kind of overtension from doing lots of land work or running work. The other area that is almost always missed with our runners is an area which sits just behind the main bone of the lower leg. It's a very pokey area, and it merges in with the bottom of your foot into this kind of like big web of soft tissue and connective tissue, and can cause many problems for our runners, causing foot pain, causing traditionally things like shin splints, and of course with the increased volume of your training now leading into next year, it's crucial that you actually manage the soft tissue tension in these areas so that there's nothing accumulating over the course of the next training block. This is two parts for this technique. Part number 1 will require just your thumbs, but part number 2 will require the ball that you purchased last time in order to do the back exercise that we discussed. In order to do this exercise, we're going to need to apply a local pressure into an area of soft tissue. If you find the main long bone on the inside of your leg, around the front of the shin, you'll be able to physically feel the borders of that bone on the inside and more towards the front of the bone, given that it's orientation. You're going to find that inside border, and your thumb is going to be literally hooking underneath that edge of that bone. This is quite a tender spot anyway for most athletes, but we find when this becomes overtension, it's especially uncomfortable. So prepare yourself for that. You're going to use your thumb as a way of ensuring that the mobility is happening from where we want. We discussed in a previous episode that one problem with stretching can sometimes be that the area that's most tight doesn't move when you stretch and everything else moves instead. We're going to try and ensure that we get every part of this muscle moving, and so that we miss no piece of this muscle or part of the soft tissue here. As a result of that, we're going to use our thumb as a way of locking some of the soft tissue in place, so that when we move, we are moving the tissue below the point of contact, in order that we can move the thumb down and ensure that we get all the pieces moving one by one. You're going to cross one leg over the other for this exercise, and you're going to make sure that your foot is free to move forwards and backwards like mine is. You're then going to find the top of that bony bit. You're going to use 1 or 2 thumbs, whichever is your preference, and you're going to hook behind that area. You're going to immediately realize it's a tender spot. You're going to hold that position firmly, and then you are literally going to move your foot forwards and backwards until you find that the level of discomfort drops again from that 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 down to like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. That may happen quite quickly, in which case you'll move down an inch or so, you'll find your spot again when your foot is relaxed, and then off you go again. As you move your foot through this movement, particularly as you bring your foot up towards your shin, you're going to want to lift off the pressure. It's imperative you keep the pressure consistent as you're moving the foot backwards and forwards here. And you're going to work your way down all the way until you feel like you're at the bottom of this soft tissue bundle. You're literally following the bony border the whole way down. The middle third of this area is normally very interesting and will cause you some discomfort, but rest assured, if you work on this technique, it allows those soft tissues to move much more freely and will really minimize the chances of you picking up a condition related to that overtensioning. That is component number 1. We said we're going to use the ball for component number 2. The reason that this is important is because this soft tissue runs underneath and merges with the connective tissue on the base of the foot that we know as the plantar fascia. This is an area that can get very sticky and very gristly, and particularly now as you're increasing your training volume, there's going to be a necessity to look after the tools for your trade, to look after the areas that are absorbing most of the contact here. The ball is a very effective method by which to achieve this. You are literally going to stay in sitting, and you are going to put the ball just under the heel of the foot. I'm going to put the hand of the same side directly above the ball, and I'm going to help steady the balancing of the foot and the wobbleness of the foot, but I'm also applying a direct pressure down into the ball. As I keep that pressure consistent, I very slowly run my foot over the ball, following the line of the big toe. So I'm going to just go back and forward, following the line of my big toe. You can see that I'm moving quite slowly so that I can control each part of the movement. I'm not just going back and forth really quickly. I'm going very slow. If I find a spot of particular tightness, I can stay still on that spot and continue to apply a pressure. I can even wiggle my toes through a full movement whilst continuing to maintain the pressure, and you'll notice that this intensifies the mobility here. It feels quite sharp and quite uncomfortable. Once you've gone back and forth a sufficient number of times in line with the big toe, you simply go in line with the second toe and the third toe and the fourth toe, doing the same process, back and forth until you find a spot. Maybe find one that's a bit uncomfortable and wiggle your toes for a while until it feels better, and then you move on again. Doing that, you're systematically going to work the ball in line with your big toe, in line with the second toe, in line with the third, in line with the fourth, and so forth. Just go in, and this ensures that you don't miss any one piece of the soft tissue. We see this technique being performed like this all the time, and it's very difficult to be confident that you have achieved a necessary release in all of the areas. Doing this format, it's a nice way of just checking each component. And again, like some earlier videos, this release here and this ball one will become a nice couplet that you will end up more than likely doing together. Crucial that you do this one, particularly after you finish running, as it'll help to restore normal tissue equilibrium.